What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out, and I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. So, over the course of the last few years, things have really gotten crazy in the world in just about every direction imaginable. And I thought, sometimes it's important to just slow down and just recompose yourself and just take that moment of peace and silence as you close your eyes and you just listen to the crickets in the woods. I couldn't resist that one. 70s porn music brought to you by the No Copyright Music Group. There's a channel I'm subscribed to that's, I guess they're kind of swapping channels, and so they're uploading all of their stuff to another channel, and as they're doing it, they're kind of doing it playlist after playlist after playlist, and I'm like literally going through and getting the playlist. So it's all the no copyright music stuff. And I thought, well, hey, why not have a massive library of that? Anyway, I've been clicking on different ones here and there. Most of them, yeah, they're good enough to get. There are some of them though that, the different artists, if you will, aren't worth a damn. But more often than that, they're good enough to go ahead and get a copy of the playlist. And anyway, that was one of them. And no, Mr. Dougie Wood does not. That's the name, Dougie Wood. I don't know if it has anything to do with the music choice, but that's one of the gentlemen that I won't be downloading his list. He's got a lot of stuff that kind of has this vibe to it. So anyway, I thought that was funny. Figured I'd start out with that bit of nonsense. Other than that, I messed around, did a little flight sim today. Not a lot, just a little bit messing around. More than anything, like tweaking this and that. Not much of anything. Didn't fly for real long. But and then I went, tried to learn a little bit about the Horizon Worlds or whatever. And yeah, I'm completely lost on that. I created a world, but didn't know what the hell to do from there. So, I mean, you can grab stuff and move stuff and build stuff and pick stuff up, but, like, where the hell's all the cool stuff? And, because it's just like a blank world. So, anyway, I don't know how to use it, basically, is what I'm saying. And, it is what it is. Huh, man. I'll tell you. Other than that, not a whole bunch of anything. Let's see. Can't think of anything extra special. As you know, the big news that's going on is the incident with the Crimean Bridge. We're going to be covering that quite a bit, as well as other things. Wait a minute. I thought I had these, maybe I didn't. Oh, I didn't, because I suck. Hang on. Okay. I thought I had these ordered. My apologies, I did not. Okay, now I've got them ordered. Oh, fun times. Alright, I guess we'll hop on over. Like I said, I really don't got anything extra special to speak on this evening. Yeah, just the nonsense porn music. That's all I got. Anyway, we'll hop on over to the news. We'll, see what's shaking there. Apparently bridges are shaking. Crimean Bridge targeted by Ukrainian terrorist attacks, says Moscow. Now, This actually came out as breaking news last night, right after. I mean, it was like right frickin' after I ended the show last night. This came out, so yeah, I hear you, brother. Hexafus, we had that like a couple of days ago. We had that nasty ass smoke back here. And fortunately, we had a rain shower move through and push it out of the area. So yeah, it's a little hazy looking up there now, though. So got storms popping off all around us, but I don't think we're gonna get anything tonight. But tomorrow, they're saying there's a fairly good chance for severe thunderstorms, so we'll see. I don't know if I said anything about power going out on us the other night. I don't think I did. I don't remember what night it was, but there was a storm that moved through, and normally we're the folks that just have the power flicker. And, I mean, there's been times where, like, much of the town has been out. And we just flickered a little bit and had power the entire time. And that's happened, not necessarily to that scale, but that has happened, like, a ton of times. And I'll be damned if, middle of the night, we lose power. So I got up, got out the EcoFlows, got everything hooked up, everything going. Got out the little EcoFlow camping light. And that's what we used for a bathroom light. Works great. We got one of those stackable washer dryer deals, and of course metal. And so it's got magnets on the base of the camping light. Man, just smacked it up there. I even turned it all the way down on low, and it was plenty enough room for the bathroom. It lit up, some of the bedroom. The camera monitor lit up the rest of the bedroom, so that would have been enough alone to light up the bedroom. But, yeah, and then in here, it had the monitor in here, the camera monitor in here, plus the purple lights that are on my desk. Those stay on, so it was, pardon me, it was plenty lit up in here, so... So yeah, it was what it was. It got muggy and crappy after a while. I just about opened some windows and plugged the fan in, but didn't, and it eventually came back up, and well, we're alive. Anyway, Crimean Bridge targeted by Ukrainian terrorist attack, says Moscow. Oh, I hear you. Sorry, I wasn't looking up the chat. Yeah, I've lived in different places of the town to where, well, hell, when I was growing up out on 40, if the wind stopped blowing for some reason, the damn power went out. It was insane. It eventually got a little better, though. Oh, man. Let's see. It says Crimean Bridge has been targeted by a Ukrainian terrorist drone attack, Russia's National Anti-Terrorist Committee announced on Monday. In a statement, the NAK, or we'll call them NAC, has said that the key link between Crimean Peninsula and mainland between Russia was attacked by 2 Ukrainian unmanned sea vehicles at around 3 a.m. local time. The terrorist act resulted in the road component of the Crimean Bridge sustaining damage. 2 adults were killed and 1 child was injured, it stated, adding that law enforcement agencies are investigating the matter. The NAC statement comes after several Ukrainian media outlets described the attack as a special operation conducted by the country's security services and naval forces. Publicly, however, Ukrainian officials stopped short of assuming direct responsibility while cheering the incident. The fatalities were first reported by Belgorod Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov, who said that those who died were a married couple from his region, adding that their daughter had also been injured. Following the raid, Russian authorities stopped traffic from crossing the bridge, although several hours later, train service on the undamaged section was resumed. Ukraine has attempted to target the bridge in the past. Last week, Kiev's forces launched a missile at the key link but failed to break through Russian air defenses, according to the Defense Ministry in Moscow. In October 2022, the bridge was damaged in a deadly truck bombing that Russia said was orchestrated by Ukrainian intelligence services. At the time, Moscow responded by intensifying missile strikes on the neighboring country's energy and military infrastructure. I have a feeling it's going to be like the 4th of July over Crimea tonight. Howdy, Steve. I hear you, Frank. There was one night we were doing a news show, and we were actually interviewing somebody that night on the show. And we had storms blow through, tornado sirens are going off, power went out, but I had everything on backup, so I just continued on with the interview like nothing was any different. Would have been crazy though if the windows would have gotten blown in. Would have had a Dodge truck in the living room. That would have made for an interesting interview. Let's see. So, as we know, anything beyond photo shoots and anime, and Zelensky is just lost. So, Moscow knows this too, and so that's why they say U.S. and U.K. ultimately responsible for Crimean Bridge terror attack. I had to shorten the title to fit it into the show. I guess so. I guess I took Boy Scouts seriously when they said always be prepared. So, actually I did. I took that very much to heart. Let's see. It says here, U.S. and U.K. are ultimately responsible for the latest attack on the Crimean Bridge, the Russian Foreign Ministry has claimed. Moscow has accused Ukraine of being behind the incident on Monday morning, which left at least 2 civilians dead and saw the key transport link between the peninsula and mainland Russia closed for car traffic. This regime, the Ukrainian government, is terrorist and has all the hallmarks of an international organized crime group, the ministry said on social media, sharing a post by its spokeswoman, Maria Zakharova. Ukrainian officials and military personnel take those decisions with direct input from American and British special services and politicians. The U.S. and Britain are managing a state-like terrorist structure, the statement added. The ministry attached a video to the message showing Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba admitting that Kiev was behind attacks on Russian soil. The footage was initially published last October by Russian pranksters who said they had tricked the Ukrainian diplomat into believing that he was talking privately to former U.S. Ambassador to Russia Michael McFaul. The American currently assists the Ukrainian government with ideas for new anti-Russia sanctions. During the exchange, Kuleba can be heard saying, "Well, if you were to ask me who blows up things in Crimea or Belgorod, then speaking privately, I'd tell you, yes, that was us." The Russian Foreign Ministry cited a statement by Russia's investigative committee which described the overnight incident in Crimea as a terrorist act committed by the Ukrainian Special Forces, or Services. Crimean Bridge was previously down, well, it goes back into that, into the prior attack. And his dad would say, "Those chickens are gonna come home to roost." Oh, man. Yeah, but if it's a snapper mower, that damn thing will last forever. I would like to have a... oh, what the hell is it now? The aluminum decks the lawnmowers, pushmowers, the aluminum decks. I can't remember. Damn it. Drawing a blank. The flare on the side of chat. Are you talking about, like, I don't know. I think he's talking possibly about, like the sticker things and stuff that they used to have. The hearts and stuff. That's right. It was like hearts and stuff. I don't know. Maybe YouTube doesn't love me anymore. Oh, no, I see hearts going up there. Hexafus has got the flare. Steve, what did you do to lose your flare? Hexafus has his flare. See? Yeah, I mean... This was Putin, wasn't it, Steve? Putin took your flare. I know. Anyway, Putin vows retaliation for new Crimean Bridge strike. Russian President Vladimir Putin has vowed retaliation for a new overnight strike on the Crimean Bridge targeted by 2 Ukrainian naval drones. Precise measures are currently being weighed up by the country's defense ministry, he said, during an extraordinary meeting with senior officials on Monday. The incident is yet another terrorist attack by the Kiev regime. This crime is pointless from the military point of view, since the Crimean Bridge has long not been used for military transport, and brutal since only innocent civilians were killed and injured, the president stressed. Putin said Moscow would retaliate harshly for the attack. The Russian Defense Ministry is already preparing necessary proposals for such measures, he added. The president also urged officials to ramp up security measures around the bridge, noting that this marks the second such blow against it. Both the road and railway sections were heavily damaged last October. Goes into history again. I'm waiting for specific proposals to improve the security of the strategically important transport facility, Putin added. The vital transport link received considerable damage. I was making sure this was the new one. In the new attack, with one of its road sections completely destroyed, Russian Deputy Prime Minister Marat Kusnolan, tasked with organizing repairs to the structure, said during the meeting. However, he told the president that the bridge's pillars had not been damaged in the blast. That's good news if we can speak about some good news here at all, but the fact that the pillars are not damaged is the most important thing, Putin replied. Let's see. And it goes into more about the incident last night. So, it's obvious that the U.S. is just continuing to add pressure on this situation. And at some point, the bow is going to break. There's no doubt about that. What blows my mind with all of this, you've got the United States sticking its big ass in the air in the middle of Ukraine and Russia. You got them talking about putting their ass in the air in Syria. And of course, we've got North Korea and Taiwan. I mean, we're pretty spread thin with our asses in the air. And then we get reports like this. And it's like, it makes no sense to me. No sense to me at all. U.S. not ready for war with Russia, says White House. Hang on a second. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has stated that Ukraine's future lies in NATO, but said certain conditions must be met before it can join the alliance, which includes ending its conflict with Russia. In an interview with CBS on Sunday, Sullivan insisted that NATO is committed to accepting Kiev into its ranks despite the lack of a formal invitation or timeline for membership during last week's NATO summit in Vilnius, Lithuania. Ukraine's future is in NATO. We meant it. That's not up for negotiation, Sullivan said. That's something that now all 31 allies have committed to, he added, referring to the final statement released at the end of the summit, in which all members of the alliance pledged to eventually accept Ukraine into the bloc once a number of conditions are met. Speaking to ABC, Sullivan said that accepting Ukraine into the alliance now would mean a direct confrontation between the bloc and Russia. Having Ukraine come into NATO while the war is still going on would mean that NATO was at war with Russia. It would mean the United States was at war with Russia, and neither NATO nor the United States were prepared to do that, he said. Kiev insists that it has already met all of the requirements to join the U.S.-led bloc and has expressed confusion over what more it has to do to qualify for membership. Well, you see, you got to let Joe sniff you. That's the first thing. If you haven't let Joe sniff you yet, that's the first thing you have to do. And that would be, in a sauna. It's all okay. It'll be fine. Joe will bring ice cream. Let's see. Let's see where it, it says, when will those conditions be met? What are those conditions? Who should formulate them? What are they? Ukrainian Foreign Ministry Dmitry Kuleba said in an interview with Radio Free Europe last week. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky lashed out at NATO for failing to meet Kiev's membership demands and called the lack of a roadmap towards accession unprecedented and absurd, saying NATO's indecisiveness is a sign of weakness. And what really pisses me off is that we don't have no choice in the matter about sending billions of dollars, trillions of dollars worth of money and equipment. I mean, this is, you want to talk about unprecedented and absurd. Mr. Photoshoot needs to deal with his own conflict by his lonesome. I would recommend on the front line. Sounds like a good plan. So, as all of this is going on, as you know, Russia's just basically getting its claws in deeper and deeper into the rest of the world, because as it turns out, Russia has stuff that everybody needs. However, as we're seeing with the grain deal and many other deals, not to mention the sanctions, we can no longer rely on that resource. But other nations are. And in fact, other nations are kind of making out like a bandit with this. This is one of the nations that's been making it out like a bandit and will continue to do so. And I would suspect that you're going to see a rise of Iran. I really do believe it. So here's the deal. If there really is one puppet master that's pulling on the strings, then none of this stuff matters. But if this is individual actions by individual governments, what you're going to see happen is you're going to see Russia pour money in Iran to topple Israel. I'll bet it. I'll bet it. Because the United States gets a large amount of their marching orders from Israel. And Russia knows this. And from my understanding, well, Putin's not real super, impressed with Russia. Or with Israel. China thinks it would make a pretty good looking parking lot. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm telling you, if this plays out, this is really going to be a massive transformation. Massive. It's crazy. I think we're right there. I really, truly do. Anyway, Iran's plan to connect to Russian power grid moving forward, says minister. Iran will soon start exchanging electricity with Russia once its plan to connect the two national power grids via Azerbaijan is complete. Energy Minister Ali Akbar Mehrabian, has said. Mehrabian did not offer a specific timeline, but confirmed that Tehran will also move forward with an alternative path to Armenia and Georgia. The Iranian and Armenian power grids are already connected. Iran supplies natural gas to its northern neighbor to fuel power plants there and receives electricity in return, with Armenia keeping a share as compensation. The two nations agreed last year to double the capacity of the scheme by 2023. We are trying to connect Iran's electricity network to all regional countries. This makes the network more stable and provides more electricity during different times of the year, Mehrabian explained. The project to link Iran's energy grid with that of Russia's was given impetus in 2016 after the signing of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which focused on Tehran's nuclear industry and saw international sanctions lifted from the Middle Eastern country. Azerbaijan was reportedly initially reluctant to serve as a transit nation between Russia and Iran due to Tehran's energy cooperation with Armenia. Baku and Yerevan have long-standing conflict over the disputed area of Nagorno-Karabakh. For optimal flexibility, Iran would need to match its power grid parameters with Russian ones. Nations included a synchronous power grid can balance their generation and loads and save on operational costs. Russia is part of the IPS-UPS, a wide-area synchronous transmission grid which covers most of the country, Mongolia, and several post-Soviet states, including Georgia and Azerbaijan. Iran has been moving its own national system, which is synchronized with some of its neighbors, including Armenia, to match the Russian one. Mehrabian reported last year that the preliminary work on the transition was complete. So, like I say, I think you're going to see a rise in Iran. This is crazy. There's one common theme before we wind up in a massive global conflict. And one of those parts of that theme is that a lot of global debt. Just global debt everywhere. Over 50 countries close to debt default, says the United Nations. It's crazy. It says here, with talks of G20 finance ministers in India stalling on the subject of debt relief, the UN Development Program has raised the alarm about the plight of developing countries. This follows last week's UN report about the catastrophic levels of public debt affecting almost half the globe. G20 representatives met on Monday in Gandhinagar, Gujarat, but made little to no progress in discussions about restructuring the debt held by developing nations, AP reported. I think the bottom line is, as of July 2023, the issue of debt restructuring is really not advancing at all on a scale that is called for and needed, UNDP Administrator Tim Steiner told Reuters, calling the situation a grave concern. Last week, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned that the 52 countries had no way to reduce their debt burden and were approaching default. Promoting a UN conference on trade and development report on the growing problem of debt, Guterres said that 3.3 billion people lived in countries that were spending more on interest payments than on health or education. This is more than a systemic risk. This is a systemic failure, Guterres said last Wednesday. UNCTAD specified that at least 19 developing nations spent more on interest than on education, and in another 45 it amounted to more than spending on health care, according to the UN agency. Almost 40% of the world is in serious debt trouble. Particularly alarming was the inherent inequality of the international financial system, burdening developing countries disproportionately, UNCTAD said, noting that African countries were paying 4 times more in interest than the U.S. and 8 times more in interest than the richest nations of Europe. Restructuring this debt is proving difficult because 62% of it is now held by private creditors, up from 47% a decade ago. Global public debt has reached the all-time high of $92 trillion in 2022, Guterres warned last week. In a 5-fold surge since 2000, the UNDP has attributed to the increase in the COVID-19 pandemic and the surge in inflation and interest rates. The UN agency estimated that more than 20% of the world's population, around 1.65 billion people, are now struggling to put food on the table and subsist on less than $3.65 a day. The warnings by Guterres and UNDP went largely unnoticed due to the NATO summit in Lithuania, where the U.S.-led military bloc pledged even more funding to the conflict in Ukraine. Yeah, they ain't going to talk about anything that might warn people. Yes, I did have a tuna sandwich last night, and I had a tuna sandwich earlier today. So, Blue's had her daily tuna. Yep. Not long before the show. Oh, man. Crazy, crazy times. Wow, I'm just kind of whipping through stuff tonight. Works for me. I didn't sleep worth a damn last night. Don't know why, but just couldn't fall asleep, so I'm tired. Alright. I'm going to have another drink of coffee and a couple of vapes. Might even turn that porn music back on. No, I'm kidding. Oh, man. All right. Central banks step up push for digital currencies, says survey. Russia to overtake Saudi Arabia as top oil producer, says IEA. Kiev behind new Crimean Bridge attack, says Ukrainian media. That's what Ukraine said. Covered that. Local TV shows video of damaged Crimean Bridge. Moscow accuses U.S. and UK amid Crimean Bridge terror attack. Black Sea grain deal is terminated, says the Kremlin. Russia knows who ordered the Crimean Bridge terror attack, says the Kremlin. India to push for hike of windfall tax on multinationals, says Reuters. Investigators publish aftermath of Ukrainian attack on Crimean Bridge. EU snubs Zelensky over summit, says Spanish Daily. Girl orphaned after Ukrainian terrorist attack on Crimean Bridge. Danon and Carlsberg probe nationalization of assets in Russia. Erdogan to talk grain deal resumption with Putin. Let's see. Beijing hopes for extension of grain deal, says TASS. Wheat prices surge after Russia's grain deal announcement. Brazil opposes supply of weapons to Ukraine, says top diplomat. No mercy to terrorists, says Medvedev. Russian aircraft crashes into Azov Sea. And you know the crazy thing is, Reagan said that we don't negotiate with terrorists. And then a couple of presidents later, we were creating them. And that's a fact. That's a fact. In the Middle East, Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda, yeah. Taliban, ISIS. Let's see. Russian aircraft crashes into, I think I read that one. Kiev's gloating over Crimean Bridge deaths monstrous, says Moscow. Russian firms boost international presence. Senior Russian official responds to UK sanctions. No more security guarantees for Black Sea navigation, says Russian FM. Hazmat train derails outside Philadelphia. Top official defends Budapest's anti-LGBTQ policies. Putin vows retaliation. Oh, I cover that. North Korea spurns offer of peace talks. Not necessarily the particular country that I would put in charge of peace talks. Interest in Zuckerberg's Twitter rival collapses. Nearly half U.S. millennials think misgendering should be illegal, says a poll. And I'm telling you, that is a bullshit poll. I guarantee you, that is a way bullshit poll. Mysterious disease prompts checks on flights from North African country. Pacific nation responds to criticism of its China deal. U.S. comments on Crimean Bridge attack. South Korean death toll rises. Israel recognizes Morocco's claim to Western Sahara. White House praises cocaine probe after case goes unsolved. Well, yeah, good job. Good job. You didn't lead them back to Hunter. Good job. Let's see. Over 50... I covered that. Ukrainian defense minister wants law on foreign military bases changed. Well, how about too damn bad, Skippy? Millions of Pentagon emails leaked to African country. Let's see. Crimean Bridge partially reopened after attack. And lastly, that could be a cool little tune. U.S., put it to the porn beat, of course. U.S. no longer our closest ally, says former Israeli PM. So that's it. Fun times. I think they're about to get really fun. I don't know. It makes no sense for the White House to come out and make statements like they did, yet continuing, once again, to stick their asses in the air in so many different places around the world. Somebody's going to spank us. It's just a matter of who does it first. Anyway, I am going to get out of here. Call it an easy early night. And, God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. I hope you all have a good night. I hope to see you tomorrow night. And as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.